Adam and Jamie have already seen that NASA didn't slow down the film to fake the Apollo mission moonwalks. But to conclusively confirm that the footage was shot in 1/6 gravity, they decided they had to experience the real thing. And here at 0G in Florida, they get to do just that.
Well, in order for us to do this accurately, we need to be properly weighted. Since 0G is providing us with the moon's gravity, 1/6 Earth's gravity, I need to have the exact amount of equipment weight on me that the original Apollo astronauts had on the moon. And that's about 180 pounds of stuff. And it's uncomfortable.
Adam's struggling with the excess baggage.
This is unpleasant.
Jamie, on the other hand,
oh yeah,
is keen to display his alpha male status. A status damaged after being forced to join Adam playing dress-ups.
I never thought I'd see the day.
With the weigh-in complete, it's time for the pre-flight briefing with in-flight info from 0G's Elizabeth Underwood.
Elizabeth, now that we're just about to go on, I want to know how good a simulation of zero gravity is this?
It's not a simulation at all. It is the real deal. It's the exact same technique that NASA's been using to train their astronauts for the last 50 years.
And it works like this. A series of parabolic arcs will give the passengers the physical sensation of weightlessness. And just for us, the pilot will adjust the angle of the parabola, making the microgravity in the cabin an exact match to the moon's gravitational pull, which just leaves the guys to step up, strap in, take off, and suit up.
I look good, right? Good. I look damn good. So right now, I'm loaded up with an extra 180 pounds on my body. In a few minutes, we're gonna actually get to try this out in moon's gravity, and I gotta tell you, I can't wait. This is a heavy suit.
Adam doesn't have to wait long because the guides soon have everyone into position for the first pass. And as G-Force 1 gently arcs into its dive,
Ah, that feels cool.
Adam and Jamie
Oh, here it comes.
know what it feels like to walk on the moon.
Whoa. Wow. That's 100% wacky right there.
Calibrated to match the moon's gravitational pull, the guys just get time to take it all in before the call goes out to hit the deck. Because as the plane begins to pull out of the dive, the G-forces go into the positive.
There is a cost to being weightless. The other end of the roller coaster, you've got almost twice Earth's gravity. It's kind of terrifying at first, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I've never experienced anything like that. It is really disconcerting to first weigh double your weight and then 1/6 your weight. In fact, at 1/6 my weight, I felt pretty much weightless. I felt like I could jump 10 feet in the air.
This is a first, even for me.
Now that the guys have their bearings, the testing can begin.
Ready?
Adam copies the same run and skip as before. This time leaving out the jump because of height restrictions in the cabin.
The movement felt totally natural as soon as I started doing it, and all the NASA footage makes sense to me now. The skipping they did is a totally efficient way to move in that gravitational pull. I couldn't think of a better confirmation for the NASA footage than trying this myself.
When Adam was walking or running, he was experiencing the exact same thing that Neil Armstrong would have on the moon. It was 1/6 Earth's gravity. Adam did a great job with the bungee cords. It looked pretty convincing, but being here on this plane in microgravity and watching him, it's totally different. Nothing really compares to what we saw here on this plane, so as far as I'm concerned, they went to the moon.
Dude, that was awesome. We have been very thorough here.
yeah, you can't get much tidier than that.
I mean, not only did we start out by replicating precisely the circumstances that theorists say were used to fake the moon footage.
But we also put ourselves in a calibrated moon gravity environment.
The theory that it's faked, busted.
Busted.
Over 100 years ago, Australian author Henry Lawson wrote a comic story along very similar lines. He called it The Loaded Dog, and needless to say, he made the whole thing up. Still, we can't assume it couldn't happen, and that's enough reason to put it to the test.
The first thing we obviously needed was a frozen lake, and the researchers found us one here in Alaska behind me. This snowfield you see is in fact Fisher Pond, a man-made lake, which means there are no fish for us to kill, with a nice coating of rock-hard ice on top.
The ice on the pond is too thick to dig through, and that supports the myth. But can it support a 2-ton truck?
Okay, here we go.
Orson Smith and his fancy ice drill should give us a quick answer. Fans of slapstick should appreciate the breakthrough moment.
Whoa! That's a hell of a thing.
The ice core cracks up as it's bashed loose.
Look at that.
Put back together, it's 1.5 feet thick.
So it's got vertical crystals that make it really stronger than average.
So it's safe for us to drive our SUV out here?
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
I think so.
Good.
That'll hold a lot more than that SUV weighs.
So far, so good, and it's really cold. Out here in the lake, it's 20 below, but that can't slow down the science.
Look, this story has a ton of components to it, and the first part of it is how far can you throw a stick of dynamite?
Standard stick of dynamite, about 8 inches long, about 1/2 pound. I figure I can throw it about an M5, which is 100 feet. That's how we measure things, Adam and I.
Remember, kids, this isn't real dynamite. We would never throw real dynamite, and neither should you. All right, Jimmy. I want you to put your chi into this thing. That's it. Go! Nice!
Jamie's toss is up over the 100-foot mark. Now it's Adam's chance to prove he's got the mojo of the throw, Joe.
Those look to be about the same.
2 hefty, manly throws with an average distance of...
125 feet.
Okay, time to bring out the dog. This is Rudy, a young black Labrador. Puffing, drooling, and full of running, he's a born retriever, making him the perfect candidate to try to cover the distance there and back before the 20-second fuse fizzles out.
The myth is about a black lab that retrieves a stick of dynamite. That's what Rudy is. As you can see, he's raring to go. He really wants to retrieve that stick of dynamite.
And has no idea what he's signed up for. Now, we've got to get another myth started.
Okay, so we're in Alaska in the snow. What myth did we get?
Okay, well, this is a fairly gory myth that affects a lot of Alaskans, but not so many in California.
What's that?
It's about the moose and what happens when you hit one with your car.
This is what happens when moose meets motor car, and it's all too common here in Alaska. Your best bet is always to stop or swerve, but this myth kicks in when a crash is absolutely unavoidable. Even a low-speed collision most often ends with something bigger and heavier than a fridge coming right through your windshield. The myth says that speeding up instead of slowing down might push the unlucky beast over the car, meaning you might live to tell the tale.
Well, obviously we're not going to kill a real moose to test this myth, right?
Right.
Now, we're going to have to make our own moose analog.
They'll also have to wrangle a bunch of stunt cars and a safe test venue. But those are problems for tomorrow. Right now, they need to design a moose that can bounce back from something like this.
Have either of you ever seen a real moose?
No.
I don't think so.
Maybe we should try to find a real moose. That way we can make our crash test moose as close to a real one as we can.
These California kids have never seen a wild moose, but they've had a tip-off from Alaska Fish and Game to search no further than downtown Anchorage.
And we're about to do some tests that hopefully will prove that.
To find out, Jamie will fire arrows at increments of 10 feet.
In this test, we're going to use the high-speed camera and this scale to measure the speed of the arrow right as it hits the target.
Ready to take the first shot from point blank?
I am.
Jamie's going to use a full-strength pull on each arrow.
All right, let's go to 20 feet.
to make sure they all travel at maximum velocity.
That's it.
And 60 feet.
Well, I think you killed something, sir.
Now, where did that arrow go?
All right, this is 70 feet.
I thought this was a ninja special, not night special.
This is what I had lying around. Go!
That ought to work.
So, what did they find out?
Well, we did pretty good. There's effectively no difference. You were consistently between 171 and 179 miles per hour.
So what this means for our tests is that it doesn't matter how far away the shooter is from the catcher. The arrow is going to be going about the same speed.
And that means the iron fist in the leather glove experiment gets the thumbs up.
Those results were pretty clear.
They were. It's true. This is something we've known about for a while, and I'm really glad we got to show it on the show, that the speed of an aerodynamic projectile like an arrow has a very low drop-off in speed from the moment it leaves the shooter to the moment it hits its target.
That means we were right, and the fans were wrong.
I guess if you want to harp on that, yes, that's true. Now I think we can put this one away, and it's time to bring out our real ninja.
Just wait till you meet him.
Getting an elusive shadow warrior wasn't easy. But the MythBusters research team not only tracked one down, they got the best in the world.
Our ninja has black belt certifications in just about every form of martial arts I've ever heard of, and quite a few I haven't.
He totally has it where it counts. He's a reaction training specialist. He's held over 20 Guinness World Records in this field.
He's hot stuff.
Have you seen our ninja?
No, but I'm not sure we'd know whether it was here or not.
Hi, I'm your ninja. I'm Anthony Kelly.
You don't look much like a ninja.
No, I only have my street clothes on. Give me 1 second.
Wow!
That's more like it.
Okay, fans, you, the viewers, demanded we get a real ninja. And despite his non-ninja appearance and Australian accent, he is the best in the business.
Well, Anthony might not look like your classic idea of a ninja, but don't take our word for it. We're going to put him into our holodeck here and run him through some of his paces to see what he can do.
So is our ninja fast enough to catch a full-speed arrow? Well, there's only one way to find out. See if he can catch tennis balls.
A thoughtful person might just ask, what does catching one of these have to do with catching one of these? Well, it's all about reaction time, and Anthony has fast reflexes. That's what this is about.
So before the ninja catches any arrows, they're going to measure the speed of his handiwork.
Okay, I'm going to keep time on the stopwatch and count on the clicker.
All right, let's go, boys.
He's so ready.
Now, catching tennis balls may not seem all that hard.
And go!
But those balls are traveling at 85 miles an hour.
That's more or less the speed of a major league fastball. But at 26 feet away, he's standing twice as close to the pitcher. The ninja has less than a fifth of a second to react. If he blinks, he'll miss it. 22 and time.
Wow! Oh, goodness me.
22.
This could be a new world record.
It sure is.
We have it clear as day on high-speed camera, Anthony catching that ball as it comes into him. Apparently, he's set a new world record.
And this is the test track, a once thriving California suburb that someone pulled the plug on.
This is Cypress Knolls, and it's an abandoned military housing neighborhood. And the city of Marina has agreed to let us use it. And there are plenty of neighborhood streets, and we are going to be tearing around these streets to see if you use more fuel when you drive stressed.
The place is so decrepit that Carrie's forced to make some running repairs.
We've set up a course that includes traffic lights, different speed limits, stop signs, obstacles, and U-turns.
These streets haven't seen traffic for 15 years. So for the test car, we've gone retro rusty.
So this is the car that we're gonna use for our test. Now, it's pretty old and it doesn't get great gas mileage, but that doesn't matter. What we're trying to test here is whether or not driving stressed out or driving calm has a difference on whether or not you use more fuel.
And to get a precise reading on fuel usage, they'll bypass the car's gas tank for a gas bag.
What we're doing is measuring the fuel before and after, but not by volume, but actually by weight, so that it's more precise.
Now for a few practice laps, just to get a feel for the car and the old neighborhood.
All right, who goes first?
Rochambeau.
All right.
Dynamite.
There's no dynamite. No, you're pointing at me. That means I go first.
Carrie's marked out a 4-mile course that, like most racetracks, finally brings you back to where you started. Grant's the first to try a test lap.
Approaching playground, on right.
On the playground, on right, then turn left.
Then Tori tries cruising the cul-de-sacs.
It's like a modern-day ghost town.
Turn left on Lindsay Street, then arrive at Smashed Computers.
All right, looking for smashed computers. Does this GPS sound condescending, or is it just me? Am I the only one that feels this way?
Turn right on 4th Avenue.
I'm the sole survivor. I'm searching for a lone survivor. Hopefully it's a female so I can start procreating.
That's enough of that. Though it might surprise Tori to learn that a rather more wholesome fantasy awaits him just around the corner. Home on the bomb range. Adam and Jamie are testing a viewer myth that low-grade steaks can be tenderized with high explosives. So far, it's a total bust.
Now we're going to pull it all the way back in the other direction and detonate what is essentially an extra-large firecracker full of aluminized black powder, which is a fairly low-speed explosive as opposed to what we just used. And remember, kids, do not try this at home.
Barrels of water and low-velocity explosives might not sound like a good tenderization technique, but hey, it's worth a shot. When Adam and Jamie tested an age-old idiom, the results were surprising.
I killed it!
They found out it's not the bullet that kills fish in a barrel, but the shockwave. The question now is, can a similar shockwave rip through cow flesh and tenderize a steak?
The low explosive we're using is like a really big firecracker. It's illegal for you to have, but of course these guys can have one. It requires a fuse to light it. Now, getting a fuse to light into water is not undoable, but it's a little finicky.
Finicky for some, but for JD, it's just like shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, that was a nice little blast.
It sure was. The bucket's destroyed. But more importantly, how's the steak?
Well, that went perfect. The explosion went off and we didn't ruin our bag of meat. Now, I can't tell anything specific just by touching this meat. The proof in any improvement in texture is really going to be in the cooking.
1, 2, 3.
The bag's intact, so the steak's still good to eat. Even better, they've tracked down someone at the Department of Agriculture who says he knows how to blast a steak to perfection. Can a blind person really drive without crashing?
We've got an actual blind person driving a car.
What are you doing?
I'm driving blind.
Why?
Because it's our next myth.
Oh, you mean like in The Scent of a Woman?
It's like you're freaking psychic. That's awesome. Yes, where Al Pacino's character, who is blind, is able to drive a sports car by being given instructions from his passenger. That's what we're going to test. Hoo-ah!
To try to recreate this highly hazardous driving technique in the real world, the guys are using a pedestrian-free zone.
The lovely people at the Alameda County Sheriff's Emergency Vehicle Operations Center have lent us their driving course. It is a blank slate. I'm going to set up a whole bunch of cones that will create our city streets for blind driving.
Jamie is going to play the blind driver first, so Adam sets up the course alone. This means that the mustachioed maestro won't have the advantage of knowing its twists and turns.
In setting up the course for our blind driver, I've tried to add all the obstacles that we see in the movie. So I'm starting out with a nice long get your bearings kind of straightaway. That also includes a sharp left-hand turn. Right after that, I've got a second sharp left-hand turn. And I've included an obstacle for Jamie to swerve around. This ought to be all the challenges we need for our blind driver.
And that just leaves the car, which for this test comes complete with in-car cameras, a driving instructor called Derek, and a crucial safety feature.
This car is specially rigged with controls so that he can hit his own set of brakes and stop the car in case I get frisky on him.
With frisky Jamie blinded by science,
A lovely color.
where does he see the problem areas of the course being?
Obviously, the straight bits are going to be the easiest ones. The problem areas are going to be the turns, exactly how far I turn and when. That's going to be tricky.
You feeling ready, champ?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just like in the movie, Jamie will be totally in the dark, relying solely on Adam's directions.
My role in this test, I am literally a backseat driver. I will be giving him all the stimulus, hopefully, he needs to drive this course correctly, although I don't expect him to. I foresee many, many knocked over cones.
Ooh-ha! It's time for ignition.
All right, Jamie, go forward. Just get your bearings. A little bit to the left, a little bit to the left. That's good.
Cruising at an easy pace down the straightaway, they come to their first bend in the road.
Okay, there's a turn coming up to the left. Excellent.
Made it with no cones down.
Straighten it out, straighten it out. Okay, pick up the speed. Let's pick up the speed.
But not for long.
Keep going, keep going. To the right, to the right, to the right. Now hard to the left. To the right, more to the right.
Soon their drive turns into a game of Cone Pac-Man.
More to the right. Okay, to the left, hard to the left. And then to the right. Beautiful. Okay, stop.
We need a new navigator.
Managing the course took a very different turn to what they thought.
How did I do?
Well, I gotta say, together, we swerved around the cardboard obstacle perfectly. But it turns out the turns were easy. It was correcting for the straight driving that was more difficult. Right over there is the worst spot.
Like a couple of out-of-sync co-drivers, Adam blamed Jamie.
His ability to correct on the fly on the straightaways was pretty poor, even up to and including his ability to know left from right at times.
And Jamie blamed Adam.
You know, more is like what? You know, it's easy to get confused or not do something enough or too little.
If the guys don't begin to work as one, they're finished.